I'm sure Senator not shortly. Okay.
Your Excellency, and my good brother and friend, Barrister Nyesom Wike, the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, CFR, and Life Venture. A man that when I wrote a chapter in a book that honored him after he left his position as governor of Rivers State, I said he's a man that says what he means and also means what he says. That was how I summarize him, because with him, you can know where you stand on an issue. I asked him, he's very close to me, I commissioned sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know my phone was still on. When I visited him, because he loves cooking, and we were in the kitchen together to cook, I asked him one thing. Oh yes, he's a good chef, man. If you eat Wike's food, you will not, you have to be careful. I asked him one pertinent question that was bugging me, and very genuinely. I said I've been in Abuja for at least 8-9 years. I didn't know there was a minister here of FCT. I didn't even know his name. How come you have just come in and things have turned around, just as you had made Rivers the biggest construction site in Nigeria? You suddenly now made FCT the biggest construction site. How do you do it? Where do you get the money from? Where is the money coming from? Where has this money been? Those were the questions I asked him. I think he said something to the following effect. He just said, my brother, you know, he's God's economics. God's economics. We salute you for making my generation proud and for being a good landlord, as even the President Tinubu called you, and for being a Mr. Project. Let me greet my distinguished elder statesman here, simply Mr. Sam Amuka Pemu. His newspaper name was Sad Sam. He doesn't look sad, because that man you are seeing sitting down there is almost 90, definitely over 80. But when I came in, I greeted him casually. He didn't know and didn't recognize him until another person came to greet him. Sir, thank you, sir, for inspiring us, for inspiring a whole generation, for allowing us to read you when we were in primary and secondary school in the 60s and 70s. May Genesis chapter 6 verse 3 be yours, 120 years. I want to also thank the awardees here today. My brother, my good brother is here, Bello Adoke, the man they could not kill, the man they could not tar with the paintbrush of shame, the man who was unjustly, unjustifiably vilified for many years. And I'm very proud to have been your lawyer to bring out your innocence, and you were vindicated. God bless you. For others do not be angry if I do not mention you, but not before I have mentioned General Abdulsalami Abubakar. No matter what you say about the present democracy, which is 25 years now, he and my elder brother and friend, Admiral Okai Mike Akigbe, gave us this democracy we are having now in 1999. But we had to fight. Ganifa, me, myself, and others, we fought them with bare knuckles. So we got there running to the barracks. Thank you, sir, for giving us our democracy. So today I speak on 25 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria, the prospects and possibilities. Certainly, a quarter of a century, 25 years, is not a joke. Children born 25 years ago are already themselves parents. And that is why people celebrate Silver Jubilee, because it is a significant moment in anybody's life or any nation's life. And the children born from 1999 who are 25 today did not witness military juntas, repressive military governments that we fought throughout in the trenches. For example, when I sued Babangida 37 years ago against removal of oil subsidy, which we are still fighting today. You will see published in National Concord, 30th December 1987. That is about 37 years ago. We are still in that battle today in the trenches. So these children born 25 years ago, may never know what we went through during successive military governments, when we were being picked up and detained again and again. They wouldn't understand. But thank God we have democracy. But the democracy we are practicing, what manner, what genre of democracy is it? Have we lost something? Have we gained something? Is it the type of democracy once defined by Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest American presidents, on the 19th of November 1863, as government of the people, for the people and by the people? Is that the democracy during this Gettysburg Declaration in Delaware? That was the man who led the Northern Union against the Southern Confederates. That was the man who signed the abolition pact to abolish the 500-year slavery. After people like Thomas Clarkson, Olaudah Equiano, William Wilberforce had fought and lost the battle. But of course, he was promptly assassinated. My take on this is that we have not quite gotten to the tenets of democracy. Sure, we are having civilian governments, but I'm not too sure it is democracy in that true sense of the word, that the people elect or select their leaders and the votes are counted and the votes are allowed to count. It is when votes are counted and the votes are allowed to count that you can say that the people have actually elected or selected their leaders. The people become the dog. Those elected become the tail. And you know the tail cannot wag the dog. That is why I have commenced a special series called Ozekhome in my own neologism, where I have coined certain words that I think we are practicing instead of genuine democracy. We have selectocracy, we have electionocracy. Electionocracy, the politician wins today, uses 1 year to do 1 or 2 things, is already looking forward to the next election. We have judocracy, where presidents, governors, senators, House of Rep members are incubated and delivered in the hallowed presence of courts instead of through the ballot. We have legislatocracy. It's a system whereby the legislature, instead of challenging the executive, saying, sir, what you are doing is wrong, we have oversight functions under sections 88 and 89 of the Constitution. Anything that president takes to them, like the Agama lizard, they say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. That's what we call legislatocracy. Of course, we have executocracy. We saw it in the last 8 years, where we have a near dictatorship, even under a democratic environment. These are things we must avoid if we want our democracy to really grow and mature. We all saw what had been happening in Kenya. William Ruto thought he could be a dictator within a democratic system. And the people said, no, we voted for you. That's one of the Trojans who were in the trenches together. He was lucky to escape after Yaradua died in Enugu prison. He was there with him. That is why he can afford to grow afro hair today. Senator Shehu Sani, my very good friend and brother. So, William Ruto decided to show some dictatorial tendencies. He imposed a finance bill, which he wanted the parliament to quickly pass into law. And the parliament was working hard on it. The people took to the streets and said, no, you cannot. We don't want this finance bill. You are tasking everything, even up to the bread we are going to eat. We can't cope. The man thought they were joking. He said, to hell. And the people went on the streets, went to parliament, closed it down, burned some places. We saw the police in action, moving against them. They killed about 23. And instead of the president showing concern and sensitivity to the plight of the people, he came on air, he accused them of treason and treasonable felonies, and even referred to the unarmed demonstrators as criminals. Of course, that was the litmus test the people needed, and they went more violent. But thank him again. One of the qualities of good leadership is to know when you are wrong and to be able to correct yourself. You can't always believe that you are right, like Louis XIV of France, who in 1416 we stand in front of parliament to say, l'état c'est moi, I am the state. You can't be the state. So he knew that what was going on could consume the entire Kenya. And he came on air. He said, I feel you. I've heard you loud and clear. I will no longer sign that finance bill, and it will be withdrawn. Not only that, we are going to start by making sacrifices from the president down to members of the parliament and even the judiciary. Cut our pace, stop issues of buying brand new cars, and with that, I think the people now felt that, well, we beat his sense into the head of this man, so that it will not, because they were now beginning to see him as an imperial stooge of Western powers. So, in talking about democracy, therefore, I have done some diagnosis. There's a period you call the transition, such as we did in 1999, transiting from military dictatorship to civilian government. There's the second phase we call reconstitution of a new political order. And the third and final phase is that which consolidates the gains of democracy. So, the 2 decades after the reintroduction of civilian rule, more than 2 decades, Nigeria seems to be stuck in the final phase. That final and third phase where you consolidate the gains of democracy. And I have asked the question, we talk about democracy dividends. Dividends is a corporate word that comes from the corporate world. It's a word that comes from the corporate world. Dividends. It means something you share from profit or from surplus. So I've asked the question, have we actually made profit in our democratic experimentation from which we now hope to share, to have dividends? I do not know. I do not know about that. So I know that somehow we lost it along the line when you look at the kind of the situation we were before and now. Where are the Ajaokuta steel mill, the Alaja steel mill, the Kano and Katsina rolling mills, the Oshogbo rolling mill? Where is the United Nigeria textile mill in Kaduna? Chelarams, that use where we used to wear our clothes. Oku Iboku, a pulp and paper mill for our newspapers. The NGC factory in Ibadan for our cooking gas. The Nigerian Airways, that was the biggest airline in Africa. I flew it, my first trip abroad in 1983, December 31, the day General Buhari played his goal. And I paid 350 naira to Dallas Fort Worth Airport. I didn't need a visa because the naira then was about 40 naira, 40 kobo to 80 kobo to $1. We had refrigerators, freezers manufactured in Nigeria, Quali Pipe in Kano, Donor Place located in Lagos. I think what has been worrying us mostly is what Professor Cloud Ake, now lay, God bless his soul, once described as a disarticulate economy. He described a disarticulate economy as an economy where we produce what we don't consume and consume what we don't produce. We produce crude oil. We can't consume it. So we sell it abroad. Then they refine it there. We now import it. So we now consume what we can't produce. An economy like that is disarticulate. Pujo cars that were assembled in Kakuri, Kaduna, Volkswagen in Lagos, Leyland in Ibadan, Anamco in Anambra, Steer in Bauchi, agricultural tractors, Vono products in Lagos, Exide company that produce the batteries, Iso Glass in Ibadan, and TSG that produce the windscreens, Ferrodo in Ibadan that produce pre-pass, Dunlop 1961 in Lagos, Michelin since the 50s in Port Harcourt, Sanyo products we were doing with WC in Abeokuta and Kano, Nigeria Wire and Cable. So, and if you now look at what we went through that time and what we are now going through again, the critical situation today, we are told, is that the country will be losing about 94 trillion naira because of the exit of some major companies in Nigeria, which gives me cause for concern as a person who believes in this country. Standard Biscuits Nigeria, NASCO, Fiber, Union Trading, they have all gone. Toa Aluminium, Pharma Industries, Mufex Nigeria, Universal Rubber Company, Mother's Pride Ventures, Aram Products Nigeria Limited, Gorgeous Metal Bakers, Unilever, Procter & Gamble, Microsoft, Kimberly Clark. A lot of them, they have all gone or they are going, including oil companies, ExxonMobil, Shell, ENI. So, but we cannot say that we cannot arrest this situation because most of them are going, according to them, because of insecurity, inclement environment to operate from. I believe that we can do something. We can do something like the Asian tigers. The Asian tigers that were even poorer than us in the 50s and 60s. The Asian tigers that started massive exportation. Because without exportation, you can't earn. Without any, your naira can't do anything for you. They invested in education and serious export of products that within 3 decades, at a growth of 7.5% per annum, within the 3 decades, they landed into that realm called developed countries. So we need our leaders, our leadership to galvanize the people. If you galvanize the people and they believe in you, then things will work. We should leave out prebendalism, favoritism, cronyism, sectionalism, tribalism, all of which hinder a country and its growth. And then we will see Nigeria moving. Like I've said again and again, let me also still say it. I know a person like Shehu will disagree with me. We need a new constitution. We are not saying a new constitution is an end in itself, but it's the beginning of a beautiful journey where you have agreed on certain articles of faith, as America did between May and September in 1787, when they met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to have a more perfect union. And they came out with a constitution subjected to 39 signatories out of the 50 that attended, and subjected to a referendum of the people. And that is why America's constitution, which is just 7,591 words and 47 amendments, have been able to stand the test of time. But if you have a militarily imposed constitution like the type we are using, which is actually a schedule attached to Decree number 24 of 1999, people ignore it. A constitution that has 67 items on the exclusive legislative list, including the Marriage Act. What is the federal government's business with marriage between a man and a woman? How you relate with your wife at home is a business of the federal government. Car licensing, vehicle licensing, things that should be left even to local government areas. So I think that not only do we need decentralization, but we need a brand new constitution which the people will buy in to enjoy their legitimacy and credibility. Because the process by which a constitution comes into being is even more important than the contents of the constitution, because it becomes autochthonous and indigenous to the people. I believe that we also need serious legal reforms in terms of our electoral system, electoral reforms. We should have an electoral court to punish for crime, so that people will know that crime does not pay. And we need the youth to come on board, and we need to encourage them, so that people will not be accusing them of doing yahoo. If you don't give them jobs, and the student spends 8 years in the university instead of 4 years because of ASU strike, because ASU is not paid, agreements are not being obeyed by government. What do you want the youth to do? Because idle mind is the devil's workshop. Because if you look at it, you will see that the youth have always been in charge. All these people we talk about are Macaulay, Zik of Africa, Amadou Bello, Obafemi Awolowo, Aminu Kano. How old were they when they were already leaders at the various constitutional conferences? Many of them were in their 20s, 30s. The oldest of them was early 40s. That time, people like J.T. Spiff was governor of their River State at the age of 28. People like Dr. Bemudia, Gowon, your head of state, was just 32 years old, and he was a bachelor. Dr. M.T. Umbu, between 25 and 28 years, he was already Minister of Foreign Affairs and also Nigeria's permanent representative at the United Nations. So it's not as if we have a youth that is genetically lazy, but that we have to use them, make them very useful. I also discussed the issue of ambiguous status of local government areas under Section 7. They are supposed to be autonomous, but we know that local governments are actually controlled by the governors, and that even the allocation given to them from the Constitution, many a time, the local government cannot give them. The governors will lay them and give them miserly something, not even enough to pay salary. So I talked here that some people have even considered issues about separation, peaceful separation, rather than violent separation. If your union is not working, then you can also sit down. That's why we need to talk. An unending conversation. Is it that we want to separate? Is that what is going to be good for us? Because if we want to stay together, we must nurture it. We must have mutual respect one for another. We cannot have peace of the graveyard and we'll be happy. That's what Abiola will call peace of the graveyard. He said, you see, they say we should have peace, we should have peace. The question is, what manner of peace? There is what we call peace of the graveyard, peace of the cemetery. The cemetery is the most peaceful place on earth. But that is not the kind of peace we are looking for. We want peace that is imbued with egalitarianism, with mutual respect, with development. That's what the kind of peace we want. So, God bless his soul. I will so round up. You are really tormenting me. Please. So some people have talked about you gave me 30 minutes. I have not been here for 30 minutes, please. Now, some people have talked about peaceful separation and all that happened in 1776, USA splitting from UK, 1830 Belgium from Netherlands, 65 Singapore from Malaysia, 2002 East Timor from Indonesia, 1921 Ireland split from United Kingdom, 1944 Iceland from Denmark, 1905 Norway from Denmark, 1905 Norway and Sweden also split, 47 British Indian Dominion partitioning to India and Pakistan, Bangladesh seceded from Pakistan in 1971, 92-93 two parts of Czechoslovakia, one going Czech and the other one Slovakia. 65 Singapore from Malaysia, Ethiopia and Eritrea, Sudan and Southern Sudan. USSR now broken into 15 sovereign states: Estonia, Belarus, Georgia, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Ukraine, and others. I must not be misunderstood. I know that self-determination is recognized by the United Nations, that people can go for self-determination. That is not what I would prefer. I would like Nigeria as a big, prosperous, united, Dolly Parton's coat of many colors, where we can develop together, because there is a space for each other. No tribe in Nigeria must be seen or recognized or referred to as a dot in the cycle. I am a minority from a minority within a minority, born in Iyukwe near Agenebode, East local government area of Edo State. I'm proud to be who I am and where I come from, of the 374 ethnic groups in Nigeria, as found out by Professor Onigo Otite in his demographics survey, don't base Nigeria alone on the tripod of the Yorubas, the Hausa Fulanis, and the Igbos. A tripod is never balanced. What do you do with the other 371 ethnic groups? That is why Nigeria is not balanced. You can't expect some people to be clappers, to be hewers of wood and drawers of water, while others are busy luxuriating away. That is social injustice, and it normally incubates unrest, chaos, and anarchy. The type we were seeing in Kenya, where they believed that the ruling class was oppressive against the common man. So in ending my something, I will say that we should do away with political corruption, which we all know very well, where people in government take a larger chunk and the people they govern are suffering. Nigeria is suffering. Let nobody deceive Mr. President, sir. My president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Nigerians are suffering. There is mass poverty. There is degradation. There is anger in the land, sir. Don't let your minders tell you something otherwise. I will advise, Mr. President, sir, go incognito one night. Just wear something, disguise yourself. Go out and see the anger in the land, the hunger in the land, the squalor in the land. That from 192 naira per liter, a liter is now between 550 to 800 naira. Small scale industries, which usually is the hub of a country, is virtually dead. Who can buy fuel to power a small face me I face you generator to do barbing? So he must look at this. He must begin to block all loopholes and cut the large size of government. The government is too large and is too wasteful. We must also begin to do away with all these long convoys. Our convoys are too long. I have a friend who came from abroad. When he saw a convoy going, he now asked me, what is going on? I told him that was a governor going. He said, governor? I said, yes. He said, is the governor president? I said, no. He's one of 36 governors. He said, and he's going like that? Because we counted on the convoy about 14 vehicles. Of course, all of them shaded. So he said, but why? In my country, the president comes out riding a bicycle. I said, bicycle? Okay. You want our own to ride a wheelbarrow? Okay, fine. I know there are peculiarities in terms of sensitivity, in terms of security. That's not, I'm not saying Mr. President should necessarily come out riding a bicycle. That's not but there's a way you empathize and sympathize with the people when they are hungry. You show that you know they are hungry. We shouldn't go about buying more aircraft, more vehicles. I mean, in a country that is already bleeding, already asphyxiating economically. So I say we should cut all those on, and the role of women, as I go here from here, must be emphasized. The 62 women in 2019 in government has now thinned down to just 21 women, 8 in the Senate and 13 in the House of Representatives, which represent 4.48% of 360 House of Rep members and 109 senators. That is not good enough at all. Neither does it meet Goal 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, nor does it meet the 35%, which we have agreed on as a country to be elected positions. So we need also to mobilize the youth so that their energy is well utilized instead of allowing them to go for NSAS. And guess what? I will soon round up. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And guess what? Nigeria has the largest population of youth in the world. Can you get that? Nigeria has the largest population of youths in the world. Do you know what? 70% of Nigerian youths are under 30. 70% of the Nigerian population are youth under 30. And 42% are youth that are under 15. So Nigeria is one of the most youthful countries in the world, which is a big plus that we should utilize. I think we can clap for Nigeria. So, Mr. President, sir, let me give you one advice as I see that. We were in the trenches together. You operated with Nadeko. You saw the suffering that we went through. Some of us here, we were under civil society. Aremu, my good brother and friend there, he and Adanso Shomole were with Labour. So all of us were synchronizing together to fight off the military. So, Mr. President, having witnessed it firsthand, what we went through and why we fought, you have an opportunity to write your name in gold. As great leaders did, it is in times of crisis that you know great leaders. While we call for support for you, we must say that you have to definitely lead by example, by empathizing with the people you lead, so that you can come out as a true leader. People like Mohandas Gandhi, people like Winston Churchill, people like George Washington, people like Nelson Mandela, people like Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, Martin Luther King Jr., Cleopatra, Abraham Lincoln. You can do it. It's not impossible. So that when you are leaving the stage, Nigerians will say, yes, he was here, he came, he saw, and he conquered. Winnie, Widi, Wisi. God bless Nigeria. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Prof. And thank you for that warm applause. We're sorry, we're moving up now quickly into the discussions. I'll hand over the microphone to Professor Ikechukwu to please anchor this aspect. Thank you.